Welcome to Madison Supportive Housing, a LEED Platinum Passive House Multifamily Tour. This course is approved for 1 hour in Continuing Education Units GBCI, AIBD, NARI Green, Certified Green Professional, and Green Home Professional. And this one actually is going to be approved for the Passive House Institute US Certified Passive House Consultant. It's also approved for the AIA, Health, Welfare, and Safety HSW Continuing Ed. For this session, I will be your producer, interviewer, moderator, and camera phone operator. My name is Brett Little, and I'm the executive director here at the Green Home Institute. The Green Home Institute is a nonprofit with a mission to empower people to make healthier and more sustainable choices in the renovation and construction of the places we live. Now, we're going to be bringing you all behind the scenes of many different residential green buildings, all the way down to small single-family urban inner core renovations, all the way up to rural developments, agri-hoods, major multifamily developments and redevelopments across the U.S. Throughout every year, this year and next year, 2018 and beyond. And so I hope you'll be joining us for these tours. Really excited to have you. This particular course is focusing on a low-income housing tax credit project that was redeveloped in our new development, rather, in Madison, Wisconsin, just right outside of the city. It's a supportive housing project, and we're going to have a lot of focus on LEED energy and health, as well as passive house applications. So I hope you enjoy it.
Hey everybody, Brett Little, Executive Director at the Green Home Institute. I'm here in Madison, Wisconsin. In front of me here is the Madison Supportive Housing Compartment Alliance. This project is a pending LEED Platinum low-rise multifamily and is on track to likely be a first passive house multifamily project in the Midwest. So here with me today is James Lewis, is going to introduce himself and then take us through the tour. So hope you'll join us, and if you have any questions along the way, please ask. So thank you.
Hi, my name is James Lewis. I work for Heartland Housing, part of Heartland Alliance. I am the Associate Director of Design and Construction for Heartland Housing. I manage design and construction for our portfolio and I'm a licensed architect and a certified passive house consultant. The architect on this project was Ingberg Anderson, and the mechanical design assist engineer. The contractor on the job was McGann Construction. It's the first time Heartland Housing has ever tried a passive house building. We've done LEED before, usually LEED Silver, LEED Gold. Done a number of buildings that were certified enterprise green communities. We were looking for what the next step would be. We're really trying to hone down the energy efficiency. Heartland Alliance, or Heartland Housing, is primarily a supportive housing developer, meaning that we provide social services in the building. This one specific is targeted at homeless individuals or individuals coming out of homelessness. So we provide as single adults usually coming out of homelessness. So the building is 60 studio units. They are all for individuals coming out of homelessness. The goal of supportive housing is to stabilize our participants, our residents, and provide social services for them so they can get their lives back together and provide stable housing for them.
So part of a sustainable building and LEED is the sort of sustainable sites and sort of a location, transportation connectivity. Can you tell us a little bit about that while we're out here?
Yeah, so you look over there, that's the main east-west corridor into downtown Madison. So all their major bus routes run along it. And so that was actually a pretty big factor in choosing the site, was that they had access to 24-hour bus transportation to the downtown of the city. And then along that bus route are grocery stores and most other services that they would need to access. So we scored pretty decently in sustainable sites. It's not greenfield development. It was a brownfield actually. We did some remediation on. And it's actually a pretty small site, so it's 60 units on 1.2 some acres. So it's a really dense site.
Okay. Any special landscaping features at all, or?
Yeah, so we spend a lot of time on the landscape design of this project. Jay Blue works for Ayers now. At the time it was, I think, SAA landscapers, or landscape architects. The goal was to create a permaculture, so in the front here it's not so densely built out, but and they're not so big of plants yet, but they are mostly berry bushes there. I think those are both plum trees there. And in the back we have some other fruit type trees. You can kind of see up on the top we have a terrace that we have raised bed planters on. We have more raised bed planters around back. So our tenants are here all the time, and we're trying to provide them with healthy food as well as access to grow their own food if they want to, and any benefits they might derive from that.
Why don't we head on in?
All right.
Thanks for joining us here, everybody. If you have any questions while we're going, feel free to just throw them out there. Yeah, oh yeah. Don't worry. No one. Thank you. We are on the 3rd floor.
Yep.
Tell us about these units.
Yeah, so this is a pretty typical apartment for us. This one's in the corner of the building, so the window is in a little different spot than normal. But every resident gets their own kitchen with sink and stove and refrigerator, and then every resident gets their own bath with toilet and shower, roll-in shower and accessible units. And then one large closet usually, and then they also have a big storage locker in the basement. It's enough space that they get their own private room and their own private bathroom. And it's a pretty decent apartment. So as far as green features go in here, the heating and cooling system for the building is a variable refrigerant flow air source heat pump type system. So that means the wall-mounted fan coil right there, that provides both the heating and the cooling for the building. And this one is one of the, what they call a heat recovery version, so they can take refrigerant in the unit that's doing cooling and swap it with one that's doing heating, making it a little bit more efficient. And this particular one is a Mitsubishi Sitting multi-brand type system. It seems a lot of the affordable housing developers who are going after this level of energy efficiency are using that kind of system right now.
The VRFs.
Yeah, and specifically the Mitsubishi Sitting multi.
Okay.
And part of it, the other ones the other brands are getting better. One of the advantages is that it can go down to -18 outside before it turns itself off. And so in cold climates like Madison, it can possibly once every 10, 20 years, get down that cold. So we actually back up unit wall heaters that are tied into the thermostat and then coupled up to the VRF. So the VRF fails and the internal temperature starts dipping below 68 degrees. That thing will will kick on, and it's large enough to actually heat the whole unit. And then we also have a ventilation system. It's important for us to provide the best air quality for our residents that have challenges in their life. And so we are continuously supplying fresh air. It comes in up there, and then it exhausts towards the door and then in the bathroom. And that is so the one towards the door is technically the kitchen exhaust. The range hood is doing recirc, and then the bathroom is the bathroom. And that's really what's driving the ventilation rates for the unit is the exhaust rates. So it's 20 out of the bathroom and 25 out of the kitchen. And LEED allows a 25 workaround for studio type unit, or LEED when doing passive house, I should say, allows that 25 workaround for studio type units or units where they haven't defined what the kitchen area is. Obviously, there's no walls around the kitchen. It's a single unit. There are challenges around that as well, where 25 CFM continuous isn't enough to exhaust source loads as well as one would like, and maybe it makes more sense to go to just a direct exhaust system for the kitchen, and the energy penalty for that. Like when I calculated out for this building after the fact, it was only like 7 CFM, so it's essentially the same as just reducing the CFM, or taking a 7 CFM energy penalty after running it through the ERV. I know that doesn't make any sense, but yeah. It's something that people should look at. If the difference between your continuous exhaust requirement is 7 CFM from your point ventilation exhaust, or your supply calculation. So my supply calculation for this unit would have only been 15 CFM, right? We're bringing in 45. So then you get a really big delta, delta there, right? But on a 2-bedroom, your delta is actually pretty small most of the time, because the amount of people in the space need more air for them, and therefore you need more exhaust air, and then that 45 doesn't the delta's not so big. But in studio units, it's actually a really big problem, and one of the reasons that we can't meet primary energy for this passive house. So yeah, I guess we can get into that. So we are being certified passive house, but we are not meeting all the requirements for it because we were one of the, I guess you call it pioneers. We started the design before they had a multifamily standard. We started the design before they had the 2015 standard, and there was really only a couple that were in design, and one was in construction at the time. So yeah, we made mistakes along the way, and
So you're under on the total energy demand?
So on the what they call primary energy, so the amount of energy allotted per person that defines the primary energy. So 6,400 kilowatt hours per year per person for the building.
Okay.
Right, and because it's a studio, you only get primary energy for one person. Right. But for 1 bedroom, you get primary energy for 2 people. But your exhaust system is the exact same in a studio as it is in a 1 bedroom, like the rates you need to hit.
Sure.
And you have the same amount of fridges, and usually you have the same amount of lights. You get 1 extra light in the bedroom, right? Same amount of bathrooms, and so it's a really tough goal to hit. And with the way it's currently written, I'm not actually positive anybody who's doing a full studio unit building can achieve passive house right now. Something that we're studying.
Sure.
So yeah, but they're mulliganing that one for us. So we are certified passive house.
Right.
Because we met the primary, or we met the demand for both heating and cooling, and the load for both heating and cooling.
Sure.
Yeah. Question.
Well, so from the I see just overall from reducing air quality issues. I mean, I see no carpeting in the unit, so this is a durable flooring, I assume.
Yeah. It's like a luxury vinyl tile. Resilient flooring. Yeah, it's not. This particular brand isn't where we want it to be. The next building we built after this one, we were getting something with much better, I guess, vinyl. And has less highlights in it, as well as other endocrine disruptors. So this one's a little bit more of a standard vinyl.
What about any other surfaces or VOC paints there?
Yeah, so the whole thing is low VOC paint.
Okay.
The Home Lindsay brand. It's not no VOC. Yeah, I think all the adhesives we use in it as well are all low VOC as well. The wall base is rubber, not vinyl. The cabinets are plywood boxes, so they're not particle boards. It's a little better than the press particle board. The faces are all solid wood. The countertops are not the countertop. The windowsills are cultured marble, as well as the vanity in the bathroom. And the countertops are just are laminate. Low flow fixtures throughout. This one is faucet group. We like them because they give us a 10-year warranty, where most of the other major manufacturers only do 5. It is a sub-company of Moen, actually, but yeah. All the lights in the building, except for the ceiling fans, are LED. At the time, and still right about now, there isn't a really good ceiling fan that does LED. We're still waiting for that product to show up on the market.
Just one that comes all together.
Yeah, where you get the light and the ceiling fan.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great. Well, let's take a look at some more mechanical.
I don't know if you want to show them this, but this is a little something we found. So I can't even see it. So you know how sinks have the overflow protector right
Right.
Okay, you can, right there. So you can get toilets now with overflow protectors.
Wow.
Right there. So if they start to flood,
Yeah.
they'll start to drain down the bowl internally instead.
Right.
Preventing maintenance headaches.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. It's a new feature. That one's a penguin toilet.
Yeah.
Just going for it.
Okay. See, the stairways are at least somewhat inviting and well lit and sunlight in it, right?
Yeah. We tried to get an active staircase right at the center of the building. The site constraints being so dense, and the building might have to let us get there, but we do try to make it as nice as possible. So right above us here, at the end of every corridor, so the building's an L shape like this, and at the end of every corridor there's the ERV that supplies that wing of the building. So one ERV is right above me, serving this wing of the building, and another one is on the other end of the building, and serving that section of the building. So there's 7 ERVs for the residential units total in the ceilings. And yeah, so it sucks out, it's supplying air right about here and then exhausting it out that corner over there. And then behind me is an ERV. This is a Zen. So those ones are our Mitsubishi Lost Net units, kind of like a Renew Air with the not the wheel, but the heat exchanger.
Right. Yeah.
This one is one of the new Zenders that do. It's the same hole. I don't actually know what the technology is called, but it's just like for corridor. This one's for the corridor. It just like gets enough CFM for
It's just a point source.
Yeah. And right here we have the trash and recycle chutes. Yeah, so we do strive to give the residents the option at least of separating their waste streams. Yeah, the corridors are all on a motion and occupancy sensor, as are all public space rooms. So offices, corridors, community rooms, all the back of house spaces are all on vacancy sensors, and really the corridor and the main community room are all ones on occupancy sensors. So this will dim to 50% when the timer triggers on it. I think it's a 5-minute timer right now. Yeah, and everything's LED sconces, and want to go up to the roof?
Yeah, let's head up.
You want to look at controls?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So this is the central controller for the VRF system. One of the important things for us as an affordable housing developer, especially in the supportive housing realm, is that we do pay all the utilities for our residents. And for that reason, we limit the temperature ranges that they can set their heating and cooling to. We have other buildings where we don't do that, and it's actually become a pretty big problem where, the spread is just astronomical. We have a geothermal building in Chicago, and on the high end, one unit is using around 3,300 kilowatt hours a year, and on the low end, we have one that's using 100. Yeah, so I mean it's a pretty big spread there.
Where they control their own.
And when we interviewed the resident who's using the 3,300, we thought they had some, either space heaters or something else, that was using the energy. And we walk in, there's nothing out of the ordinary there. And what she's doing is, actually, I'm not sure it's she, what the tenant is doing is setting the thermostat all the way up, like to 90 in the morning, and then turning it all the way down to 50 in the evening. And every day they do that, and it just uses so much energy. Yeah. So this one, important for us to set that range. They're 68 to 72 in the heating season, and 64 to as high as they want to go in the cooling season. But it also allows us to, if we get heat calls or something, we can remotely check this thing. So I can actually look at it from Chicago if I wanted to. You can pull it up, and you can change all the settings on it remotely as well. So it helps with diagnostics.
Right.
Those sorts of things.
And I assume being able to keep those utility bills down and keep the rent rates down there.
Yes, it does. It does help to keep the. I mean, that's not exactly how it works, but it does help to provide more staffing for the building.
Sure.
So
one way or another, you can fund.
Yeah. The less you spend on utilities, the more you can spend on social services. How we look at it.
Sure.
And so, I mean, this building is. We have a year data now, and it's about a 45 EUI. The most comparable building that we have that was built recently in 2011 is right around a 65 or 70 EUI. So I mean, it's a pretty big reduction for us. Not exactly where we hope to get on it, but it is significant. And a lot of the LEED buildings that we have in Chicago, those are all in the 60 to 70 range.
Sure.
And those, LEED Gold, LEED Silver, enterprise green communities. So we see this as the next big step forward.
Sure. Great. Let's see. Ducts are sealed. There we go. Easy see on this, but there it is.
Yeah, and these are actually the mixing boxes. They call them branch boxes for the VRF system.
Where's that at?
This one right here, and then that one over your head over there.
Okay.
So that's where all the refrigerant goes, and that's where they do the mix.
Okay.
So when the heat recovery system, that's where it would go in and go back out instead of going up to the rooftop units.
Right.
We'll probably go check out next.
Let me see. You got your good MERT filtration.
Yes.
Media filter. What is it? 8 here or 10?
It is an 8 here.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Baseline. Great.
Yeah, it's hard to get the static pressure to work out with higher.
Right. Higher MERT ratings. Yeah. Sure.
Oh, one other nice feature I think about the building that the architect did well is, we put the windows at the end of every corridor, and it really makes the corridors a lot nicer. You don't feel long and endless. So we try to do that when we can. We can't always do it depending on the layout, but it's a nice feature, I think.
Probably can't see it as well as me, but there's the capital of Wisconsin there. Capitol building, Madison. Off in the distance. So what do we got up here?
Yeah, so on the roof, it's a reflective TPO roof, and then it's R80 insulation for the roof. I think 50 of it is in the rigid insulation up here, and then 30 of it is in bad insulation in the trusses. But over to my left, you can see the VRF condensers, the plant for the system. There's one per floor, so four total for 60 residential units. One thing that's interesting, I think, is we built we renovated a 90-unit building in Chicago at the exact same time we were doing this. Also put in the Mitsubishi VRF. That one's not the non-heat recovery one, but pretty much the same. But that, for 90 units, has 12 of the condensers. This one only has 4. Right? So, I mean, it does actually,
for the envelope, right?
Yeah, for the envelope and the air sealing.
Yeah. Well, tell us about the rest of the envelope. I don't think we talked too much
Oh,
about
yeah.
this.
So, it's what the Building Science Institute calls the perfect wall. I think it's pretty well documented at this point, but it's 6 inches, 2 by 6 on the inside, typical framing. Then you're sheathing, and then you got 4 inches of rigid on the outside of that with a furring strip nailed back through the insulation to hit the stud. And then from the furring strip, you attach your siding. So this is hardy board and metal panel siding. It seems like a pretty standard construction type now for this type of building. Not legal in Chicago, but
What's in the 2 by 6 wall?
it's just bad insulation, just fiberglass bad insulation, R20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of that mix of some insulation, some exterior insulation.
Yeah,
So.
and you try to split it about 50-50.
Okay.
30-50. Yeah.
Sure.
30-60.
And what's your air leakage?
So that was one of the other issues for the building. So when we did the mid-construction blower door test, can't remember exactly, but it was under. It was like 0.4 ACH. But then when we came back to do the final one, we could get it to pressurize, but not depressurize. And pressurized came in just under. But the depressurization, we can never get it to hit for us. It was a really windy night. We spent a good 8 hours, 10 hours doing it. We tried a bunch of different locations, and we don't know. I mean, we taped everything up that we could find, but schedule didn't allow us to come back and do it again with people moving in pretty much the next day. So, but we're pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were you were you able to test any compartmentalization?
Oh, on the compartmentalization thing, yeah, we honestly I don't know that statistic off the top of my head. We didn't have any problem with that. Yeah. Under the .22.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know LEED looks at I think .23 under V4.
Yeah.
But under this current version, they don't even care. So yeah. So, but obviously a good thing to do. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's go take a look at the.
Yeah. Yeah. We also tested the windows. Did a couple individually just to check it.
Yeah.
Right. To make sure the manufacturer is meeting their claims.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's. I can't remember, but it was astronomically small.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're really well sealed windows. So we ended up going with a brand called Kensington, which is I think a sister company of Alpen. They're vinyl windows, but they're really cost effective, and they are under .2 U value and solar heat gain. So one of the things that's different, I think, about multifamily and single family, and especially for these all studio unit type buildings, is that the internal heat loads are significant, and they don't really. Cooling demand was the next hardest thing to meet for the building, right? It wasn't heating demand, it wasn't heating load, it was the cooling demand, just because you get high cooling peak loads because of all the internal heat gains from people and the equipment. And, it was difficult.
And as of the date, this being filmed in October 2017, they're having that issue going into October apparently, which I guess was predicted, but
yes, yeah, it's a lovely day.
So having to deal with that a little bit longer, I guess.
Actually, it's kind of surprising that they're even running at all today. They must still be cooling.
75 degrees out here, I think.
Yeah. I guess so. So yeah, there's the 4 VRFs here. These 3 are larger than the one for the first floor. There's only 7 units on the first floor, and there's normally 13 units on the floor. I hope my math works out. I don't actually think that does, but maybe it's 13 and 17. Yeah.
So these are all electric, no ducts, right?
Yeah, no ducts, so you pump the refrigerant around. Yeah, the same coil does heating as does cooling, right? Run the compressor backwards.
Yeah.
Either pumping off hot air or cold air, so you can see all the condensate, kind of raining down and clogging up my roof drain.
Right.
Get the maintenance guy come under and clean. And that's also why they're raised, right? So in the winter, we don't want ice buildup or ice buildup on top of snow to basically kill the unit. Yeah.
And so you said last building you did there were 12 of these.
Yeah, there's 12 of them.
Now you're down to 4 because of the
12 for 90 units versus 4 for 60.
right.
Yeah.
Mathematically speaking, you got more of your energy in the envelope, right? Or just savings, yeah. And these walls, what are they doing here?
That is just to they're visual screens for the first city of Madison code.
Okay. We're not protecting or.
Nope.
No.
Don't need it at all.
Yeah.
No, they're just visual. So these things actually don't come with the metal panels on the top and the side. These are the snow and hail guards.
Oh, okay.
Those are optional. That's really what protects them.
Sure. Great.
Yeah. Top of the elevator shaft.
Right. So what else do you plan to do on this roof? Is there anything else you can show us up here?
We're really trying to figure out how to put together a solar deal. We've gone after the Focus on Energy has a grant here in Wisconsin. We've gone after it twice now. We're it'll be about a little less than 20% of the total cost for solar, but we put the building solar ready. So we're going to pipe here, go down, switch it conduit, and then we got a disconnect on the outside, and we size the switch gear. Something like that. Appropriately dropping in price right now, and it's really close to getting worked out. We think we have an investor that's going to work with us. So we're a nonprofit, so it's hard for us to take the tax credits off of it. So it actually kind of structure a solar deal the same way you structure the affordable housing deal, but it's a lot of work.
Right, right.
It's the same amount of work to put together something like that as it is
Right.
not exactly the same as the housing deal, but it's a nice level of complexity.
Right. So anybody who's building especially a new building, who's got access, could, even if they have no plans for solar anytime, this is an easy one, right?
Yeah,
Doing this. Cost more to retrofit.
So it's not actually pre-inspired, like the conduits there.
Right, but pre-plumbing or
Yeah,
with it, yeah.
the size of the switchgear. The displays. But yeah, it's sometimes it's hard to find that extra 15,000. I understand why people don't.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you kind of need to have a little bit of a plan for solar then
Yeah.
at the beginning. So.
Yeah, and I mean on an all-electric building, you really should be doing it.
Right.
It's gonna get there in the lifespan of this building. And you have to get an electric building, which is nice.
Right. So what you told us the 45 EUI,
Yeah.
but how much is this building on a sort of kilowatt usage using, and then how much could solar potentially save if you can get it all up here?
Yeah, so off the top of my head, and we can check it when we get certain things later, but I think it's right around
450,000.
So a 16, I think it's actually 68 kW system would get us somewhere right around 68,000 kilowatt hours. Actually, no, it's right around 100,000 kilowatt hours a year. So you cut off somewhere between a quarter and a fifth of the energy usage for the building.
Great.
I mean, that's one of the problems where trying to do all your solar on site, with 2 to 3 stories, you just don't have the roof space with the technology these days. You need a lot of extra site area to do it.
Right.
Just a limitation of running it.
Sure. Great. Let's head down and look at some more mechanicals in the garden, right?
Yep. Oh, so you can see our rooftop garden over there. So residents have access to those, and then we got some more out back raised bed planters, and we are partnered with the UW Madison. They have an extension program, like a master gardener program. So they're volunteering to help with residents in growing food here.
Great. You guys measured how much food you grow?
They grow a lot. I know more than they know what to do with.
Right.
No, we don't measure.
Just need to get a freezer downstairs and make salsa, right?
Well, yeah, I'll show you the commercial kitchen. So we do have a commercial grade freezer, and we could
Or pasta sauce.
do some canning.
Here's another shot of the garden.
Yeah, so this is the hot water heater room. The 2 big ones are for the residential units. They're 95% efficient condensing hot water heaters, gas fired. They're on a on-demand recirculation pump. And then the littler one over there, that's for the commercial kitchen. And then a water softener, because we're in Madison. Yeah, very hard.
Not on well water, right?
No.
Just to highlight that.
Yeah, it's just really hard water in
Right.
Madison.
And so this is the only gas in the building, right? There's no gas stoves
Yep.
or anything. Yeah.
Oh, there's gas for the commercial stove.
Commercial kitchen, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's no the units are all electric, electric stoves, electric backup heaters. Yeah.
What percentage of the energy used is coming from the hot water?
Yeah,
Top of your head.
it's. I want to say it's like 10 of the EUI, but it might
Oh.
even be less than that.
Sure.
It could only be 1/6. Maybe that's more than, yeah, less than 25%. But we'll check the. So we benchmark all our buildings. So
Right. So we'll share the data with everybody, right? It's
Yeah.
not a secret. Yeah.
It's not a secret. Sometimes don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Get all the numbers mixed up. Yeah, so that's a bike rail.
Oh.
I don't think any residents actually use it they all use the elevator, but we have,
Bike racks stored.
yeah, lots and lots of bike racks and storage for the residents.
That was one thing that we, kind of they laugh at LEED about a little bit is bike racks, but then, they weren't they weren't safe to keep your bike there, they weren't safe from the weather, so so now you see more options like this, obviously makes more sense, right?
Yeah, so the City of Madison actually requires 1-for-1 for residential units, and then don't remember what the exact calc is for the employees, but we have like 72 bike racks in here or something like that. In the basement.
Wow.
Yeah. And then every resident also gets their own storage locker, although some don't use it, obviously.
I see, Christmas is coming earlier and earlier these days.
Christmas is coming. Yeah. And somewhere in here you can actually see the radon vent pipe, but I don't know exactly where it is. So this is actually where the electric plug comes. So one of them comes from the disconnect out to the side, and one is coming from above, and then you got to bring it into there.
So this is a radon zone 1 here, right? So you've got to.
It is, yes. Yeah. I don't know where it went to, but oh well. So we installed a residential grade commercial a commercial grade teaching kitchen for the residents and staff and social services. They do group meals in the building. They grow, or they cook what they grow in terms of produce. I know Jennifer makes stuff for game nights. She's the property manager. But yeah, so we're hoping to find staffing to do a health program essentially around food.
Sure.
Just need to find the money to find the staffing. But yeah, we equip the space to do it when we can, and it's a pretty nice kitchen.
Wow.
So also in the development we have a community room which we'll probably just stick our head into. I think there's people using it.
Yeah.
And then we also have a fitness room and a library for quiet reading and get away from people.
Great.
So we're really trying to provide a lot of different kinds of spaces for people to use, so that they can get out of their units and still maybe find some private public space.
Sure.
Yeah. We got social services offices here and there.
Y'all been everywhere on the road.
Yeah.
We have.
Basement.
We've gone all over. Oh yeah, you can see us, can't you? Yeah, property management offices, and we got computers over here for residents.
See all the screens are off, that's a good sign.
Laundry room in here. Where's that like go? Yeah.
So condensing or conventional or what?
They're gas-fired
Oh,
dryers.
okay. Oh, so the dryers are gas, yeah.
Yeah, high efficiency washers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you look into electric at all, or condensing, or heat pump? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Didn't work
the
out.
technology is not there yet
Yeah.
for this scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Someday. Yeah, fitness room. And the library.
Oh. Very cool.
Yeah, it's nice space. Maybe we'll just stick our head outside for a minute, out back. Walk-off mats.
Yep. They're important.
Yeah, this is our semi-permaculture, nice backyard space. Permeable pavers, LED bollards. We were hoping originally to put a chicken coop up there, but the property manager does not feel like dealing with chickens. Yeah, our trees died. They asked new trees. Those were, I think they were supposed to be pawpaw trees. I think we're going to get a different kind of tree. Little raspberry bushes there, and really little blueberry bushes along the fence. And then if you, back in here, actually, not that anybody knows, but it's a forage garden, so you can actually pull some ginger and some onions out of it. Back there we have more raised beds.
Oh. Another part of the outdoor instructional, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and there is a cat. Oh yeah, maybe I should talk a little bit more about the windows. So we chose to go with casement windows, and if you look, it's about 1/3 operable, 2/3 fixed. Part of that is that casements don't break as much as the double hungs. They're also a lot more efficient because they seal a lot better. And it's one of the ways to ensure that you actually make your blower door test. And really is the decision between casements and awnings that kind of depends on the building with what the window type is. But yeah, so they're also a little higher up, and I should have pointed this out in the unit. But they're about 3 foot 3 inches, 3 foot 4 inches, so you can get a couch or something or a bed below it, but it's still well within your reach range. And also that, but we didn't shrink the height of the window overall, so they actually get up almost close to the ceilings are 9 feet, and it almost gets up to 9 feet in terms of height for the window. So it lets a lot of natural light into the units. And we did a bunch of studies to kind of to look at and explore, what the different heights and sizes of the windows were. So, you can reduce glass, but if you put it up higher, you'll still get good amounts of daylight far into the unit, which is what we're looking to do. Yeah.
So usually on especially affordable housing projects or any kind of project like this, to kind of go to the level that you went to in the energy reduction, it tends to be pushback is the first cost issues. So what strategies were able to use to overcome that?
Yeah, so I mean, just globally speaking, it is hard to compare costs between buildings. But what I can tell you is we built a very similar building in terms of usage to this in 2011 in Milwaukee. Milwaukee is only an hour and a half away, and you pull similar subcontractors. So your pricing should be fairly similar between the two. And we built that building in 2011, and it's certified enterprise green communities for right around $170 a square foot. This one in 2016, and mind you, that was coming out of a recession, right? And so our pricing was a lot better. This one we built for $165 a square foot. So it actually cost us less to build this building than our next closest or most comparable building. And then in terms of like energy cost, we are right around $700, $725 a unit a year here, and that one is closer to $1,100 a unit a year. So I mean, there's real savings there. Maybe we're a little aggressive in our underwriting of the utilities, and we're not hitting those projections. So we underwrote at what's the equivalent of about a 38 EUI, and we're about at a 45. The real issue is that when we were underwriting, we didn't get our mix of electric to gas correct, and electric is 3 times more expensive than gas, and so little differences in that ratio translate to bigger dollar amounts, which is problematic right now for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the utility here doesn't give you any special, if you go more heat pump, they don't give you any special rates or...
No, they do not.
Right.
No, they do not.
Besides being off slightly on cost, were you pretty close on actual usage? For the modeling?
I mean, so that's the tricky part, right? So the LEED model was putting us somewhere right around 35 to 40 EUI.
HERS rating, the HERS index?
Oh, was it a HERS? I mean, I think they gave me an EUI, or we calculated it out of the energy model.
Okay.
It wasn't a HERS model.
ASHRAE.
Yeah,
90.1.
it was the ASHRAE model. So yeah, and then like the incentive program, Focus on Energy, they also do their energy model. They were modeling it right around 60, 68 EUI, somewhere in there. And the passive house model, is granted it's harder to do, but that one was less than the 30, 38, and that was closer to 30. And so none of them, are right. And that's
looks like ASHRAE came the closest.
It looks like ASHRAE came the closest. And it's one of those things where it's really hard to model resident behavior, and a lot of the models don't take into consideration actual occupancy hours, right? So our tenants are here, 24/7. That's not an exaggeration. We did a survey at a different building, but similar population, and 20 out of 24 hours, 7 days a week, they would be in the building, right? And so typical energy models aren't taking that into consideration. And so that's a tough thing to do, and something we need to get better at moving forward, for sure. And like the passive house model for sure doesn't, they assign you your kilowatt hours based on a typical occupancy, but they don't differentiate for how many hours they are in the unit or anything like that.
Sure. And before we close out, I mean, obviously planning to do more projects. You shared some pretty unique stuff with me. I don't know if you want to share it with everybody else, but can you just tell us a little bit more about what you're looking at for the next one?
Yeah, so we have another one in construction right now in Madison. That one's a family supportive housing development. So it serves families. So it's 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and 4 bedrooms, mostly 2s and 3s. And that one we're exploring the well building standard. So really taking a look at materials and health at the forefront. So in a family building, we only have 45 units in that project, but there are probably going to be 175 residents in that building, of which 100 are children, or more than 100 are children. So really looking at the health aspects of the building was important for that one. But we did incorporate the same wall system that we built here there. We're doing furnaces for that project, save on cost there, so we could apply it more towards materials. And then in Chicago, we're looking at how to incorporate these strategies into the Chicago market, where the Chicago code doesn't allow us to do the 4 inches of rigid outside of the building. You can do mineral wool, but it's not the same amount of.
Is that because of fire?
Fire code.
The Great Fire.
And then the ventilation standards are totally different in Chicago. They have their own ventilation code, which doesn't follow ASHRAE. And so the rates are, I think, 1.5 CFM per square foot in a bathroom, which translates to like 75 CFM as your minimum for like a small bathroom.
Right, so really high.
So really high, and like totally not, you couldn't do passive house or anything with those amounts of with those rates. So one thing we're looking at is how to get exceptions to make it through there. It does work out if you're doing like a 3-bedroom or maybe a 2-bedroom, but certainly a 3-bedroom where you have the supply rate requirement for the higher occupancy to offset that higher bathroom exhaust.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Great. Well, hey, thanks for having us out here. Where can people go to learn more about your organization, what you guys are doing?
Yeah, so I think www.heartlandhousing.com. Oh, hey, look, you got a bunny.
It goes dinner, right?
Yeah. Is Heartland Housing's website, and we are a sub-company of the Heartland Alliance, which also has our sister companies which focus more on health and immigrant justice issues.
Sure.
So yeah.
Great. Well, thanks, James.
Yeah,
Take care.
thank you.
All right, well, before we close up, one thing that I think is really important is to understand that now LEED has upgraded to version 4. So while this project is certified under the 2008 program, we've all moved on to version 4, and so it's really important to us to kind of take a look back at some of our latest projects and see how they would have scored out in V4. That doesn't mean it officially has. This isn't certified. This is all just sort of theoretical based on what we know about the rating system as one of the providers out there. So we wanted to help you get a sense for how you look at this building and how it might translate into the version that you'll most likely be using at either V4 or V4.1 at this point, which is nearly identical. So the first thing to take a look at, and we gave you all these handouts, but some things I wanted to just quick touch on, and you all can take a look on your own time. But this particular project got a final of 103 points. Because of the home size adjuster in 2008, so this is 2008 up here, it only needed 80. So it's got a really good cushion. That's 23 points over what was required for platinum. And so if you know anything about how V4 typically translates, is that most projects we see an entire level drop. So from gold to platinum, or from platinum to gold, gold to silver. And projects that used to just get to certified, may not be able to certify anymore. So, what we did is we took a look and we found that this project actually is probably most likely in V4 scoring out as platinum at 85 points or so out of 110. So you can see right here, unlike 2008, those scores are locked into these thresholds and there is no home size adjuster anymore. So we think that because this is a really good platinum, it's most likely just eking over the threshold here within V4. So if this had been a much lower gap here, it probably would have just been gold. So that's one thing to notice. Why did the points drop though? What are some of the things? Well, they're instantly lost 3 points here for awareness and education. This is the credit that was sort of meant to spur action to promote LEED and get it up and going. It wasn't worth much in the rating system. And a lot of the items within awareness and education that still have tangible value today, like education of the building manager and 1.1 basic operations training, enhanced training, those have all been relegated to the manual, which is in the energy and atmosphere section. So those haven't disappeared. They're just actually now all requirements, which you'll find a lot of things which used to be worth points are now requirements in V4. And then this public awareness portion, which a lot of it came from us doing this tour, is now no longer points in the rating system. So those are just points that have just vanished. And then in sustainable sites, you can see this is V4. You have only 7 points to choose from, and they got 4.5. In the old system, you'll see in the workbook, they had 22 points to choose from, and they got 18.5. So just a huge drop-off in available points in sustainable sites there, even though they still did, as you can see, quite a bit of stuff that's way above and beyond. And that's where, that's a big area where we see a huge point loss within this particular project. And then materials and resources, again, this is V4 here at the top from the checklist. You can see they have a 9-point opportunity and they only got 3, which a lot of projects really don't even get this many points, if any, within this section under V4 or 2008. And you can see the threshold here is 16, so nearly cut in half from 2008, which is down here. And they picked up 11 points in it, which is actually quite a bit for a project, especially new construction. So you can just see, though, they lost significant 8-point drop nearly. So that's quite a bit there. And the other thing to know about this is that they took the credits that you used to get for having no or low VOC or CARB certified products that, formaldehyde free, and they all moved them to where they probably really belong, which is environmental quality. So, they lost points here. They technically lost 1.5 points here, only because it's been moved to the EQ section. Not that they actually lost the points, they've just been transferred over. And then lastly on this one, interestingly enough, it seems like they may have potentially have done the same, if not better, under V4 in the energy and atmosphere section. So you can see here at the top, this is the credit annual energy usage. And so we just made some estimations here on where their percentage points above ASHRAE 90.1 2010 would have been. That's just based on estimating, the savings from 07 to 2010. And then this is their home size adjuster, which again only exists in the energy pathway. So you can see, based on the fact that it was a 0-bedroom apartment, they got a lot of units condensed. They got a lot of points here for doing that. The other thing to know about 2000 or V4 is that you can pick up some extra points in the hot water distribution system and in advanced utility tracking that didn't exist in 2008. So you can see here in 2008, the threshold here was 38 points. I believe that's pretty much remained fairly consistent within V4, but you can actually get a couple more prescriptive items within V4. And so you can see they did nearly 40% better than 2007, nearly 25% better than 2010. It's about a 15% changeover from those two ASHRAE levels. And it kind of kept them, pretty consistent in their relative point area. So they, because it's a passive house project, so obviously no surprise that they've done so well there. Okay, well, that concludes our section. Like I said, there are the handouts there. Take a look through those and review some of the items within the handout along with this session. And so you can get your continuing ed by doing that. Complete the 10-question quiz, get an 80% passing rate. And just a big thanks to all of our members, our volunteers, our board of directors, our sponsors, GeoComfort, Field Equinox, Smart Ventilation, Sun Intuitive Self-Tinting Glass, Niagara Conservation, lowest flowing toilet on the planet, Panasonic, Certainteed Air Renew, formaldehyde eating drywall. Certainly could not do it without them, without our sponsors, and without you all for engaging and hopefully valuing your time with us here today. Bonus too, this is approved for a certified passive house consultant. So make sure you enter in the verification code 91457 under the self-reporting link if you are FIAS. All right, thank you for joining us, and catch us on the next tour.